thermodynamics, because you will be changing temperature, and changing temperature will be changing the volume and all those things. And once you have understood starting about thermodynamics, you get to understand about something called ideal gas, real gas. When you study about ideal gas, or when you study about real gas, which is real gas will not be studying in physics, let's say ideal gas, that is where you get to know something called PV equal to nRT. What is PV is equal to nRT? That is basically your ideal gas equation or something. Now when you're starting ideal gas, you realize the fact that gas is basically a compressible fluid. Gas is basically a compressible fluid. What does that mean? If you change pressure, your volume will change. If you change pressure, its volume will change. And if its volume is changing as you are going up or increasing h from the ground level, your pressure will be changing. Now that change in pressure is not linearly varying with h. It will be varying with exponential sum, e to the power sum तो मैं भूल गया, mg by 2 kth or something, लाइक एक्सपोनेंशियली डिक्रीज करेगा. बट वही सेम चीज अगर आप लिक्विड के लिए कर रहे हो, जैसे पानी के लिए कर रहे हो, तो क्या होता है? दैट इज बिकमिंग बेसिकली इनकम्प्रेसिबल फ्लूइड. And when it is incompressible fluid, where are you are basically dealing with incompressible fluid. Now if you are going ahead, going up with h, your pressure will directly vary with h, rho gh. That is what we know. So all together, I have tried to sum it up. The why do we basically need to understand about, and we, I think it is 10:30. Oh, I still have 2 minutes. So basically I have tried to sum it up, like why. And yeah, so another thing I was trying to say, for example, in class 12, as we are discussing about electric field as a function of time and magnetic field as a function of time, for that you have already discussed about electrostatics. And then at further stage you have learned about Faraday's law. Once you have learned about Faraday's law, you know epsilon is equal to minus n d phi dt. And that is where this gives you the that your flux is B A cos phi. Your AMF is minus plus B A sin phi, or phi or omega t or whatever. Means your flux varies as cos, your epsilon EMF varies as sine. That is where your I, which is current epsilon by R, that is EMF by R, also function of sine. That is where the concept of alternating current comes to the picture. So I have, within the last 30 minutes, I have tried to give you overall brief things, that what are the things you are supposed to, what are the things you have already studied, and how one thing is related to the other. Now we will start the proper discussion and in-depth discussion of all the things, and that is where we will be, as we know that moving ahead in life, I mean, moving ahead with physics, we need to understand about kinematics. Why? Because somewhere we have to deal with electromagnetic wave, because everything, this is the time of artificial intelligence and let's say machine learning and all those things. And that is where you have to have proper idea about how to deal with electromagnetic waves, and basically quantum mechanics. And the whole thing of quantum mechanics, because all of you are budding engineers, you will be joining IITs, NITs, Jadavpur University or something else within next 6 months. And that is where you will be learning about lots of things, and in life you will be progressing ahead with. This is the era of quantum mechanics, and quantum mechanics is lying on this wave mechanics. So it's all navigate or moves around these wave things and all. So that's why I generally focus on understanding the wave a bit. Anyway, now coming back to the fact that we have to understand about kinematics. Okay, now let me to, we have already discussed about class 11 and 12. Now I'll take you back to class 9, and then I'll slowly develop, and now we'll start the proper way of discussing these things part by parts. So let me to just take you to this. Now what are the things basically you have to understand in kinematics? Shomil Bishas. Acha, theek hai. Now what are the things you are supposed to discuss in kinematics? Let's say in class 9, what have you discussed? Suppose I gave you a function x equals to 5t square. X is equal to 5t square. ठीक है? I have given you a function x is equal to 5t square, and I have told you in class 9, if you think, what have you done? You have done like, you, I mean, whatever you have done a concept called average velocity. What is average velocity? Total displacement by total time. Distance displacement is a very बच्चों का, that is a very kids thing, so I'm not discussing all those things. I'm directly going to average velocity means what? Basically total displacement by total current. So if I tell you, acha, tell me the average velocity between t is equal to 5 to t is equal to 7. How do you do this? You learn in class 9. How do you do? You learn v average equals to total displacement, means x is equal to, you will be calculating it, t is equal to 7 minus x is equal to Nilakshi. Okay. And then you discuss about t is equal to 5 divided by 2. That is what you discuss. And what is your average velocity in this case? So 5 into t square minus 5 into 5 square by 2. Ach. 5 into 49 minus 25 by 2. 5 into what is this? 24 by 2, 60 meter per second. What was the need? The need was you have to understand the average velocity between t is equal to 5 to t is equal to 7. Acha. Now let's say I'm interested in, tell me v average between t is equals to 5 to t is equal to 6. What have I done here? I have just decreased the time interval. When I have decreased the time interval, I'm again asking the same thing. Tell me the v average, a velocity average between t is equal to 5 to t is equal to 6. What will you do? V average equals to x is equal to t is equal to 6, t is equal to 5 divided by 1. What is this? Is what is this? 5 into 6 square, 5 into 5 square divided by 1. And what is this? 36 minus 25, 5 into 11, this is 55 meter per second. 5 और 1, हाँ, 55 meter per second. This is what you know. Now you see your velocity, average velocity between when the time interval was 2, that is delta t was 2, it is 60 meter per second. When the time interval, that is delta t, is 1, your velocity is 55 meter per second. Acha, now when you are in class 11 or as you move ahead, we need to understand something which is known as instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous velocity. I want to understand the velocity at the time t. Well, how will you do? Let's say I don't know about differentiation, or that by now already we are mastered of differentiation, so we can invoke the concept of differentiation. What is x equal to 5t square? What do you need basically? Why do you now the fundamental question comes. I can ask you, if I tell you find out the velocity, find out the velocity at t is equal to 5, you will immediately do what? Dx by dt is equal to 5 into 2t, that is 10t, and then put t is equal to 5. Now who gives you the freedom to use differentiation at this point? And how are you making sure that differentiating it will give you the actual value? There must be something. Now that is where we'll be connecting mathematics, or let's say the core idea of mathematics, to physics. Because the need is, we need to understand what is the velocity at time t, that is t is equal to 5. How will you do? Same thing. Let's say the initial time interval is t, initial time is t, and the next time is t plus delta t. Delta t can be very near to 0, almost equal to 0, however not 0. With that small time interval, what will you do? You will calculate v average. And how? X at t plus delta t minus x at t divided by delta t. Now delta t, this is what you have been doing in class 9. This is what we have done earlier. We have found out 60, and then we have found out it is 5 into 30, 36 minus 25. So that is 11, 55 meter per second. This is how we have been proceeding. Here also I'll proceed with like same way. But whatever we know and whatever we don't know, there must be a connection between them to proceed to the unknown from whatever we know, while making sure that this also gives rise to a new thing which is known as, let's say, differentiation, which already we know. So how will you proceed with this? 5 into t plus delta t square minus 5t square divided by delta t. So 5 t square plus 2t delta t plus delta t का square minus 5t square divided by delta t. And then what do you do? 5t square plus 10t delta t plus 5 delta t square minus 5t square divided by delta t. You see 5t square cancelling. What do you have? 10t plus 5 into delta t. What is this? V average. In between t to t plus delta t. Now, as you know, there is something also, you again in mathematics, you have already understood all those things. There is something called limit, and now I'll be putting the limit, and that is the limit is delta t tends to 0. If I now do delta t tends to 0 ka limit, what will that be? I'll directly be putting delta t is equal to 0, and that will give me t. And so your v instantaneous, which is basically v average with delta t tends to 0, basically becoming your 10t. Hmm? Now, this has a mathematical notation, or this has a mathematical formalism which you have learned in mathematics as hardcore differentiation. And the mathematical formalism is mathematical formalism is, if y is a function of x, then dy by dx is limit delta x tends to 0 f of x plus delta x minus f of x divided by delta x. This is known as differentiation. That is what you know, and that is what we have precisely done here. Now you can just put t is equal to 5 or whatever you think, and that gives you v average when delta t tends to 0 at t equals to 5 to be 50 meter per second. And that is because you have put your delta t is equal to 0, you are basically finding the velocity at the time t, and that is what your instantaneous velocity is all about. Instantaneous velocity is nothing but dx by dt. And that is what we promptly say or readily say this is a differentiation. But differentiation is a concept of calculus, right? That is mostly related to mathematics. How are you bringing in that into physics? By this. Because whatever you are doing in physics is that is actually your calculus or differentiation, and then there is a whole branch of mathematics of it which simplifies these things a bit more. That is where you bring in the concept of differentiation. Nice. So as we have slowly entered into proper class 11 now from here I will try to take it forward. Let's say so far, and the same concept will go. So we have understood about average velocity, we have understood about instantaneous velocity. The same concept can be generalized to average acceleration, instantaneous acceleration, and so on and so forth. Now as we proceed, array, now as we proceed further, before we proceed, I'll just quickly go through certain things that before, I mean, when you discussed about velocity, when you discussed about acceleration, these are motion, and motion is not relative. Sorry, motion is not absolute. It's a relative thing. That means when it's a relative thing, something may be moving with respect to me, but something may not be moving. Something may not something may not be moving with respect to others. Hence, the concept of frame of reference is also very much of utmost importance. That is what you need to know about frame of reference. And when it comes to frame of reference, basically you have to understand about relative velocities or relative things, relative velocity, relative acceleration, whatever. What is relative velocity? Let's say if I say velocity of a with respect to b, जिसके respect में होता है उसको subtract करना होता है, velocity of a minus velocity of b. Done. We will not spending time here, rather we will move ahead. So there are certain things, if I discuss, there are certain things, certain quantities are there, which depend on choice of frame of reference frame. There are certain quantities which does not depend on reference frame. Acha, when I say that they doesn't depend on frame of reference, please understand we are considering that the particle is moving relatively slow as compared to the velocity of light. Otherwise, I must be giving you the same information that when you are moving with the velocity of light, all those things, Newtonian mechanics will fail, and that is where Einstein mechanics will come. That is a special theory of relativity. But again, that is not something we'll discuss. Quantities that depends on reference frames are distance traveled by particle, Distance traveled by particle, displacement, you may be moving with respect to me, but you may not be moving with respect to somebody else. Velocity, speed, kinetic energy, acceleration, work done. ठीक है? So these are the things which depends on frame of reference. What are the things which doesn't depend on frame of reference? Individual forces, distance between particle. If you have a rigid body, then this is A, this is B, and the distance is 10 meter. This will also be remain 10 meter in the other frame of reference if you have a rigid body. Time of events, time of event. ठीक है? Anyone who is very much interested in higher physics, maybe just search this name, causality effect. I'll not be going into detail because it's the revision class. Causality, causality effect, and that is where this term will be utmost importance when you will discuss about some particle is moving with a velocity approximately with the velocity of light. That is where this thing's causality comes, but anyway, forget it. But for the time being, whatever discussion we will be having, we know that our individual force doesn't depend on frame of reference. Distance between two point A and B doesn't depend on frame of reference. Time of events means time of event, the time of events between, let's say the time between two events, that doesn't depend on frame of reference. So you may, if we say that you have fired a gun and that gun, the bullet has hit someone, if the time between these two events is, let's say, 10 seconds, then if you are in a moving frame of reference, that is where also we'll consider that it will be 10 second. The time of events between two frame of reference is same. Okay, now that we have already discussed all those things, now we'll move ahead and we will start solving this problem. So I'm just giving you a sum just to warm it up and then we'll proceed. Just give me a second. Ha. Let's say I'm giving you this. Let's say this kind of problem, let's say we are discussing. We have x is equals to 2t minus t square. We have x is equal to 2t minus t square. Find v average. V average means average speed. Find average speed in t equals to 3 second. We have x is equal to 2t minus t square. Find average speed in t is equal to 3 second. Let's solve it and let me know. Nilabjo, we have to solve it, huh? X का distance बोला. Yes, this is a x versus t means distance versus time. I mean distance displacement that I don't know, but that we'll get to know. But it represents the movement of the particle. That's for sure. जोड़े बोल छोड़ दे. Minus 4 is wrong answer. Average speed 4 ashe no. 1 meter per second is saying Nilab you know. Average speed I have asked. Rajashri de, that I don't know. that I don't know. I mean, I don't know means I know, but I'm just saying use it as it is. This just tells you how the particle is moving with time. Krishnavardhan? Ha. Rajashri is saying 2 na. Who else are here? কিছু একজন বললো বল বল বল. -1 না রে. Shoprob is also here. Shoprobo, can you please help us? हाँ शोभनिक बॉल 5 नहीं, it's not 5 by, हाँ हाँ हाँ, yes, got it, 5 by 3, 5 by 3. Noitik Chatraj, Shoprobo Devnath may be having some internet issue. Okay, কত এসছে বল দেখি? আচ্ছা, some of them have internet issues. Anyway, এই নীলাব্জ আসছে না অ্যাভারেজ ভেলোসিটি, সরি অ্যাভারেজ স্পিড? হ্যাঁ রাজস্বী বল, রাজস্বী বল।